It was a weekend of farewells at London Stadium. Four big players, or say three big players and one sort of okay player in Danny Ings leaving West Ham. But it's a welcome back from me, James Jones, in place of Will Pugh this week. He's had to pull out due to other commitments. So I've come straight off the plane from Morocco, straight into my office, plugged in the mic, and I'm joined by Alex this week, who's consecutive weeks for Alex on the podcast this season, for the first time, I believe, becoming a regular.
Turning up back to back, unlike West Ham. So.
Yes, exactly right, mate. Yeah, exactly right. But yeah, it's good to be back for me. I had a good week in Marrakesh with some mates for my brother-in-law's 40th birthday. And I was just saying to Alex before I click record that I feel like I need another holiday now to get over the very boozy 6 or 7 days that I spent in Marrakesh. But jolly good fun all the same. But good to be back. Not so much to talk about West Ham, given that the season still hasn't finished. We're desperately waiting for that final whistle to blow at Portman Road on Sunday. We've still got a few more days to go before we can finally wave goodbye to the season. But we did wave goodbye to for the players that have played a big part in our season, or in West Ham's modern history, really. Aaron Cresswell being the main one, 11 years at the club. Coufal, a key member of the team that won the Conference League. And Fabianski, arguably our best goalkeeper in the Premier League era. I would say. So 3 emotional farewells. So we'll touch on that because I feel like the club had me crying a lot in the week with all those farewell videos, which caught me off guard a little bit. We'll touch on the Forest game very, very minimally. No one really wants to discuss the football these days today. It's pretty rubbish. We'll talk on the Hammer of the Year, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Very controversial. I know there was a very controversial debate on the podcast last week between Alex and Will. I think Will upset a few listeners in the process with his views. And we'll then touch on the Ipswich game briefly, and then we'll wrap up. Very, very short one this week. But Alex, just give me your general view on that performance against Nottingham Forest.
It was okay. It was typical sort of end of the season. It means nothing against a team that really did want to win. You could tell a sort of panic, especially at the end when we were sort of pushing for an equaliser. First half, again, one of those typical sort of Potter at home first halves where we sort of knock the ball about in the midfield, okay, but pretty slowly or very slowly, and don't create a great deal with Bowen up front because I just think he's just so much better on the right, and we sort of lack a focal point with him through the middle. And defensively, again, it wasn't like we were being carved open at ease, but at the same time we were having problems dealing with Wood and Alanga's pace in behind. And then we're trying to play out from the back, which I suppose that's at this stage of the season. If that's what we're going to do next season, that's fine to build into that. But with Areola in goal, we know he can't kick. We're used to him booting the ball out of play, but until he boots it straight to Morgan Gibbs-White, and it's a pretty easy finish. And then if you give Nottingham Forest side that have defended so well throughout the whole of the season a 1-0 lead, you're sort of giving yourself a bit of a mountain to climb because that is literally their bread and butter, holding on to leads, being tough to beat. And it was going towards a sort of frustrating end, and then the referee decided, I'm going to make this all about me. VAR, I can make it all about VAR, and it sort of kick-started into a game of sort of like ill-tempered sort of bits of fighting, some kind of tackles going in. The crowd suddenly up because we were so angry about this poor refereeing performance. Tadibo is not allowed to kick the ball. Bowen's allowed to get stamped on by Murillo about 5 times, and then things suddenly became a little bit more sort of on edge. And then Bowen finishes, and that is an unbelievable goal. Like that the touch is unbelievable. To watch it down onto his left foot and rifle that beyond Sales, he's been in really good form. Like that is simply incredible goal. Like one of the best goals we've scored this season because we haven't scored that many. And then it sort of set up a bit of a grandstand finish, but then nothing really happened because we're just not that good, are we?
No. I mean, the little ruckus at the end that led to about 100 bookings. Actually, I was quite pleased it happened because I had a couple of bets on, And what I didn't have, whenever I bet on a West Ham game, I don't bet on the outcome because I know I'm just jinxing it straight away. So I bet on sort of things to happen during the game, like a certain amount of yellow cards, certain players to have shots on target. And all I needed was one Nottingham Forest yellow card, and then it kicks off right at the end. And I'm like, right, amongst all of that, if one Nottingham Forest player doesn't get booked, I'll be gutted. And he ended up booking about 3 of them. So it won me £150. So I was delighted with that.
Yeah, brilliant.
It certainly overshadowed the fact that we'd lost to the point where I'd even forgotten what the scoreline was for a while because I was like, oh, I would just want some money. I wanted to touch on Areola. I tweeted when he made that clanger that should be him gone this summer, not just because he made that one mistake, but because it kind of underlines his just lack of ability when it comes to distribution, knowing that Graham Potter likes to play out the back. He likes a goalkeeper that can actually pass the ball. And to do that in the penultimate game of what's been a terrible season at a time when there'll be a lot of players that will be playing for their West Ham futures this summer. And you've got him going and doing that. He kind of didn't really do himself any favours when it comes to convincing Graham Potter that he's the guy that can play and go and play that system. Do you think that would have made up Graham Potter's mind? Do you think a goalkeeper will be on the list this summer?
I think it definitely will be, but it's not. I still don't think it's going to be our number one priority. We've got to go out and get a striker, and it's the midfield, which is desperately needs sorting. And I mean, another game where Emerson doesn't play, so it looks like we need to, because Wan-Bissaka can't continue at left wing back. That's pretty obvious. He's so much better on the right, where he's where he played his whole career, apart from when he played up front for 6 months under Lopetegui. So we clearly need like a left-sided player, 2 box-to-box sort of energetic midfielders, a striker, and then probably another centre back in the left side centre back. Cresswell going. We'll talk about that in a minute. But so a goalkeeper is on the list. It's just have we got the sort of finances to actually go and do it? Like we obviously probably need a backup keeper to fill in for Fabianski, probably someone to push Areola. But whether we'll go out and spend sort of the 20 to 30 million that we probably need to get a competent distributor of the ball in goal, I'm just not sure we're going to be able to do it. Also, it's also, I mean, goalkeeper is always a tough one, isn't it? Like to sort of go, oh, we'll go for him, because normally keepers sort of stay in their clubs for a while. And besides, sort of, I think everyone's sort of looking at Kelleher from Liverpool as a top target. And then it's like Ramsdale's going to be available. I know why Ramsdale's available, because he's rubbish. So he can kick, but he also can't stop the ball. Like Areola, to be fair, if it comes to it, some great reaction saves. Even pulled out another one, I think from Wood. Like he's a good shot stopper, and if it was just down to keeping the ball out of net, I wouldn't be massively worried about Areola. But it's the fact that we're now going to play possession, and we are going to need someone between the sticks who can start attacks a little bit more. And Areola just can't do that. We probably do. I think we do need another goalkeeper, but it's if whether that is the priority going into the summer, I'm just not sure it's going to be. So I wouldn't be surprised if Areola is number one next season. I definitely think if we can, we do need to go out and spend a decent 20, 30 mil on a proper goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think goalkeepers, because there's a lot of teams now that want to play that way. They want a goalkeeper that's also a midfielder. I think as a result of that, those goalkeepers now also come at a premium price. Gone are the days when you could pick up a player like Fabianski for 10 million quid and be happy about it. It just doesn't happen. Like even Aaron Ramsdale is going to go for 20 million plus this summer, because there will be a club desperate enough to pay that money for him. Hopefully, it's not us. But I agree. I think I'd like for it to happen. Like you said, I agree with what you said about him being a good shot stopper. I think goalkeepers these days they need to have more than just being able to kick the ball out the back of the net. And actually, if you look at his record, he's not been very good at that either since he signed for the club. Like, I think it's like 100. I think that was his 100th appearance in all competitions, and he's got like 15 clean sheets. The majority of those or 20 clean sheets. The majority of those are in Europe against smaller opposition. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see a change, ideally, and it just really annoyed me. He just didn't need to make that man, the pass, just boot it if you have to. Like, the pass isn't on, just boot it.
Yeah, it's one of those where he's sort of still weirdly sort of passed it across his own goal in a weird way. Like, he was sort of in the corner of the 6-yard box and decided to go back towards the centre. And it's one of those where, like, if you have a proper goalkeeper who can play well with his feet, that pass isn't an issue, but it suddenly becomes an issue for someone who's not comfortable with the ball at their feet. It's also, and that's also, you know, if we're going to be playing that way, it's a sort of the feeling around the players sort of won't be comfortable to go and pass back to Areola, or won't be comfortable to sort of receive the ball because you know, it's that sort of panicky feeling. Like, the best way to know, and obviously Areola's nowhere near at this level, but like Roberto, was every time someone had a shot, it was like panic amongst the crowd. Everyone like, oh my god! Like, it's going to be that same sort of feeling around Areola who has the ball at his feet, trying to like ping 20-yard balls across his own penalty area, because we just know it's a weakness and it gets into people's head. Like, you need a goalkeeper who's incredibly just trustworthy and just a safe pair of hands. And I think that's what Fabianski is. He's just a very safe pair of hands, relaxed, like assured. And if Areola's not filling people with confidence with the ball at his feet, what's that going to do to the players as well?
Yeah, if you do have that lack of confidence in your goalkeeper in a system like that, it ruins the system immediately, because then suddenly you get players that don't want to do it, and then they're forced to play a long ball, and that kind of then just ruins the whole idea of playing that way, doesn't it? So, which makes me wonder whether it might be a little bit higher up the priority list than we might think, purely because of that reason. But I don't know. But anything else happen in the game? Because part of me, I'm so apathetic to it. I said it a few weeks ago. I don't care. Like, we've got nothing to play for. I didn't expect us to win, and obviously we didn't. But anything else in the game, Alex, before we move on to more important matters that you'd like to mention or discuss?
I would mention the difference between Mohamed Kudus and Luis Guillaume when he came on. That was a clear difference between a player who's going to be there next season, hopefully, and a player who isn't. Kudus seems to clearly. I'm surprised he lasted. I think he lasted 75 to 80 minutes. I was quite surprised he lasted that long. We know Kudus can get the ball and dribble through 4 players at times, but his decision making this season has been so beyond poor, absolutely terrible. And I thought when Guilherme come on, he shows that he's a raw talent. Like, I'm not there going, oh, he needs to start every Premier League game. But he should absolutely be getting more minutes than what he is. I think at this stage of the season, as well, with Kudus surely going, it's like, give him a start, because he's got energy. He looked like he wanted to take people on. He's a bit of a threat. Okay, he's going to lose the ball a couple of times. I think defensively he's probably not quite there. Sort of, I don't think he really particularly tracks back at all. But I mean, he looks like he's a real prospect. We look like we've got someone on our hands who's definitely worth keeping. Like, I know there's rumors in that January about maybe sort of cutting our losses and sort of accepting what we paid for him, just to sort of get him off the books. I mean, absolutely not. Keep him.
No.
Maybe we're forgetting as well. What is he now? Still only like 18, 19. Like, I think he's got really good ability for someone his age. He just needs to be given a little bit more time. And I don't even think he should be loaned out. I think we should keep him, try and give him more minutes off the bench. I think it's hard for a player like that, an 18-year-old from Brazil, to sort of make any impact in a team which is so poor across the whole season. Put him in a better side, give him 20 minutes, hopefully when you're winning the game. And I just think he has the potential to be absolutely worth the sort of 20 mil, whatever we paid for him, given his age. So he just should absolutely be getting more chances ahead of someone who's out the door next week, who doesn't particularly want to be there and who's been poor all season.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see him start against Ipswich. Ipswich at the weekend is essentially a friendly. Like, they're already relegated. We can't finish any higher than, I think, 14th now, mathematically. Just play. Like, tell Kudus he's done. Go and pack his bags, because he's off to Saudi or wherever he's going to end up. And give Guilherme a go. I've been really impressed with him. I'm surprised that there's been a lot of question marks over the fee we paid for him as well. We're talking about a player here that, we're led to believe, depending on if you know where you read the reports, was rated above Endrick in the youth setup in Brazil in terms of ability. Hendrick's obviously then gone and signed for Real Madrid and is doing well there. And a lot of people go, yeah, well, why didn't he sign for Real Madrid? These things happen. Like Hendrick caught the eye of Real Madrid, Guilherme didn't. That's fine. I'm not saying that Guilherme is going to end up as good as Hendrick. Absolutely not. But the fact that he's rated higher than him at youth level suggests that he's got talent there. He's got the ability to do it. And I've been very impressed with him. So 20 million quid in this day and age isn't really a lot of money. So I'm with you, mate. I think we should keep him and give him more time, more minutes. Give him 90 minutes against Ipswich. Why not?
Yeah.
And then give him the pre-season, and then he can be the backup winger.
Yeah.
Him and Somerville, like he's got two really pacey, really tricky players there that are useful. But it's not a Graham Potter. It's not a Graham Potter signing, is he? So Graham Potter might not be interested.
Yeah, I think some of the stick that Guilherme got was because he wasn't really playing in the first half of the season, and we were watching Duran banging a goal every week for Villa, and we were going, we could have used that 20 million instead of wasting it in inverted commas on a kid. We could have put that towards Duran, and obviously that is a fair point. But at the same time, if you just look at 20 mil for someone of showing the amount of ability, what he is showing, that in isolation is not a bad deal.
No.
However, was it needed when we could have used that money to go and get a proper striker in or proper goalkeeper, like all these sorts of bigger holes to fill? Maybe that's a poor use of the money. But in terms of, is that player okay? Yeah, he looks for a 19-year-old kid, he looks all right. Just give him a bit of time. We've got to be patient with him. We signed, with the idea of not really breaking into the team for a good couple of years anyway. So the fact he's coming off the bench already and looking decent, that's good enough for me. I think it's one of those we need to be patient with. A player. It's hard, but if you sign a 19-year-old from Brazil, I believe there is something in there. There's a good player in there, and I don't think we should just get him off the books for the sake of it. Like he's here now, he's showing a little bit of talent. Give him a chance.
Agreed. But there's no patience in football these days.
There isn't. No.
Right from the top to the very bottom, there's absolutely no patience. And when you spend £20 million on a Brazilian wonder kid, naturally
you want him to be a wonder kid now.
He's got to be the wonder kid now. Yeah, he needs to score 5 goals a game and nutmeg everyone while he's doing it. No, I'm with you, mate. I think I'm quite excited to see more of him next year. I think he's definitely one for the future. Anything else on the Forest game, Alex?
No, just get to the end of the season and be done with it.
Pretty uneventful. Yeah, I agree.
We can move on to players leaving, because we'll start with Cresswell. We can start with Cresswell because I thought he was particularly comfortable in the back three once again. And to the point where it's like almost, again, as I said last week, and I was speaking to Will, is it almost worth keeping him at this point because he's looking so assured in that back three?
I've been thinking for a while that maybe they will offer him a deal because he's performing. He's playing every week. He's performing very well in that back three. So when they announced that he was going, I was in shock. I was like, oh, right, didn't see that coming. I thought he'd at least get another year. I think he deserves another year. But it makes me wonder. There must be 1 or 2 players lined up in the window where they've gone, no, we're going to go out and get this player, so it's not worth keeping Cresswell. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's desperately sad to see him go after 11 years. 370 appearances, or just under 370 appearances in all competitions. And just one of the best value for money signings we'll see in the Premier League, at least at West Ham, for the last 20, 30 years. I mean, 4 million quid from Ipswich. And he goes on and achieves what he's achieved at the club and played many games and been such a huge part of the club. So yeah, when they announced his farewell video and it came up and he is bawling his eyes out right at the beginning, set me off. I'm an emotional guy anyway. So, and I was like, oh, Cressy, don't leave me, mate. Don't leave me. But yeah, him and even like the other Fabianski and Coufal, the 3 of them showed in their farewell videos that they're they're a rare breed of footballer. Not often do you get a player sign for a club and immediately understand the foundations upon which the club is built on, and the culture around the fan base and the club and what it means to the fans. And you've got 3 players there that immediately, all 3 of them got it, and they understood what it meant to play for West Ham United. And so I think it's sad that we're losing 3 players like that in one hit. You'd want to at least keep 1 or 2 of them around, especially given, all 3 of them have leadership skills to an extent, and you want them in the dressing room. So for me, it's a bit of a shock, but I don't know what your views are, mate, but I'm sad to see all of them go, really.
It does feel like a real core of the team is being ripped apart.
Yeah.
Like there's 3, again, it's with my concern is, I can understand Fabianski going, he's nearly 40. Coufal's out of contract, seemingly wanting more money. Again, you can understand it. And Cresswell's, they're pushing like 36. They all make sense on paper to let them go. But the concern for me, especially with the Cresswell one, where he's still playing to a pretty good level, and I think, if nothing's stopping him being our sort of backup, who's going to play a back 3, being a backup left side centre back for next season.
And he'd be happy with a backup role as well, wouldn't he?
Yeah, of course he would be. Yeah,
he'd take it. Yeah.
Yeah, the concern is that we're losing, again, as you said, like 3 leaders, 3 people to understand what it's like to play for the club. And we're going to be bringing in, we'd like to hope we're bringing in several new players this summer. And it's like, who are they going to be able to sort of count upon as leaders in the dressing room, so they can understand what West Ham's about, sort of keep a bit of the fabric of what was good a couple of years ago there now. And that you're sort of looking around at it and going, Bowen, Souček, and that's literally, it feels like that's it. Like, especially with some more go, like you've got a part of a core that was the best side we've had in God knows how long, and they're being taken. It's what they sort of give off the pitch, sort of help if we bring in like a lot of young new players to bring them up to speed with the standards of training and things like that, which is. We all know about Coufal and Souček coming in on their days off, stuff like that. It's the standards set by professionals like Fabianski, who's been a Premier League goalkeeper for like my whole lifetime or whatever. Those sort of standards. And the concern is more, I think it's more, besides Cresswell, who I think showed enough on the pitch to probably get a new deal. I think it's off the pitch stuff that we don't see as fans, which is a bit of a concern. The lack of leaders in the dressing room is potentially a concern.
Yeah, I think you said it there. That all 3 of them are top professionals, and they are professionals like that are a dying breed in terms of what they do both on and off the pitch. So no, I agree. I'm hopeful that Cresswell struggles to find a new club, and then we offer him a little one.
A Carlton Cole. We let him go and bring him back the same summer.
Do a little Carlton Cole with him. Yeah, why not? Why not? Yeah, I mean that's wishful thinking, to be fair, but I'm gutted that I wasn't there on Sunday to wave them off. But I think all 3 sadly missed when they do leave. But at the same time, massively important to the club particularly over the last 5 years, the Conference League win. But in terms of value for money for all 3 of them, I think Fabianski was 10 million. Coufal was 3.5, 4. Cresswell was 4, and they've gone on. I think it's over 750 appearances between them for the club over the last 11 years. Not bad going, is it?
No, they've been brilliant servants. Absolutely brilliant. And I'd like to get your thoughts, because Will did disagree with me last week when I said I think we're going to look back at Cresswell's 11 years about how good he has been and how good he's how important he was on being part of the squad that won the Conference League. Like, the red card, the 2 red cards, one against Lyon, one against Frankfurt, is obviously sort of a little mark on his record. However, in my opinion, I don't think that tarnishes anything that he's done. I know a lot of people go like, Cresswell should have gone years ago because, but actually, no, I've always said, look, Cresswell pulling, I think it was Lindstrom down Frankfurt. Like, he should not have been the last man anyway.
Yeah.
In that situation, and look, so for anyone that sort of I'll say it again, as I said last week, if anyone sort of doesn't see Cresswell in legend status because he made that mistake, I just think that's completely unfair. And the rate modern football's going, we're not going to get many more players stick around the club for 11 years and being a top player for 11 years as well, and still to his final appearance being a top player. So I think any sort of criticism towards him due to Frankfurt is harsh.
Yeah, mate, I'm with you on that. I was annoyed, obviously, at the time, but you're right. He shouldn't have been the last man.
Of course.
I thought the one against Lyon was harsh.
I said, it wasn't a red card for me. So.
It wasn't a red card. The fact that Dembele's winking afterwards says all you need to know about what happened there. Yeah, like fans naturally are going to be pissed off at the time and go, like, he shouldn't have got sent off. He's potentially cost us a place in the final. But then you look after, now it's all done and dusted, and then since then we've gone on and won a European trophy, not the same one, but we've won a trophy. You kind of go, you forgive and forget. The fact is that what he has achieved at the club massively outweighs that one red card, or those two red cards, massively outweighs it. So for me, he is a legend. He is a legend at the football club.
Yeah, she shouldn't go down as a Scaloni, who's always remembered for booting the ball back to Gerrard. Like, it's not that level of because he did so much more in his West Ham career. That's
Scaloni literally is only remembered for that because he wasn't the club for very long.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Cresswell, 11 years, for me deserves a testimonial. Should have one. It's criminal that he probably won't get one, and will always be remembered as a West Ham legend in my eyes. You don't make that many appearances for the club over that long period of time and achieve what he achieved. Hammered a year in his first season as well, I think. Win a trophy. And also portray the passion that West Ham fans want from West Ham players, right? He was crying on the pitch after he won the Conference League. He was crying in his farewell video. He admits he's a West Ham fan now. Like he understands the fabric of the football club and what it means to the fans. So if that's not good enough for some people, just because he got a red card, I don't know what it is, mate. But yeah, he is a legend, 100%. Right, shall we move on, mate, to more controversial matters? The Hammer of the Year award. It's gone to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I knew it would go to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I'm not massively against it. What are your thoughts?
I'm not massively against it either. He has obviously been very good at right back. Like, I think the amount of some of the game, like, he was criticised at Man United for not particularly being good at going forward. Like, I think the way he dribbles the ball, he can't really cross. Yeah, valid. But like the way he dribbles, he's been so important for sort of how we've been playing recently, but under both managers this season. With the way he dribbles out from the back, he's been able to move the ball up the pitch because at times it's been like Souček, Alvarez midfield, sort of, or Ward-Prowse's sort of sideways passes. It's like who's going to be able to actually get the ball forward in so much. So often the attacks have been started by Wan-Bissaka carrying the ball forward, and I think he's been absolutely brilliant by far. Our sort of signing of the season, 15 million is a bargain. However, I do understand the sort of complaints where you go, Bowen, is it 19 goals and assists this season, 20. Or something like that? 20 now. Yeah, 20 after his goal weekend. Yeah, that is ridiculous numbers, given how poor we've been. And I can understand people going, it almost has to be him. He's by far our most important player. If it wasn't for him, we'd be Ipswich, we'd be Leicester.
Yep.
And I think it is a bit of a sort of thing where Wan-Bissaka's the sort of shiny new toy. Someone different. Do you know what I mean? Someone different will give it to him instead of just going for like the standard sort of like Bowen. Like, I remember the time when we went down under Avram Grant, and every week it was just Scott Parker man of the match because he obviously was just by far the best player. Every week it was Scott Parker. And then, but someone else got a goal, it might, we could give it to him. It's just because it's something a bit different. I just feel like Wan-Bissaka he doesn't not deserve it. But I feel the amount of people that voted for him, I think I read it was like 68%, which feels like an awful lot. Like, I'm surprised he got that much of the vote. And I think, well, it's not a thing if he doesn't deserve it. It's a thing of just, in a poor season, it probably should go to the captain, who's contributed like 50% of our goals. But it's different. It's difficult. It's a tough one.
Yeah. I mean, with Bowen, the goal against Forest was his 20th goal contribution this season, which makes it 4 consecutive seasons where he's got 20 or more goal contributions. But for Aaron Wan-Bissaka winning it comes from is the fact that he was at fault for a lot of the rubbish that we saw under Lopetegui in terms of just being caught out of position because, like you said earlier, he was playing up front half the time. But the flip side is that wasn't his fault. He's been told to play that way. He's been put in that position that doesn't suit him, being caught out of position as a result. And everyone's pointing fingers at Aaron Wan-Bissaka when it really was just the system was rubbish. It didn't suit him and the tactics were bad. I think going from that to then what we're seeing from him now, which is very, very good right back, currently a left back, performing very, very well week in, week out, barely putting a foot wrong, got a couple of assists over the last few weeks as well. I think the recovery from him from the first half of the season to the second half of the season, I think gives him a very, very strong case to win it. So yeah, I'm not massively against it. I would have liked to have seen it go to Bowen, but I'm guilty of liking new things as well, mate. If I'm honest, it's like, oh, new players won it, but yeah, it could have been. It could only have ever been one of those two. I was thinking about it last week. Like there's no one else that even gets close. Maybe Souček.
I actually voted for Souček, but I voted purely because I see the sort of hammer of the year as rather than just the best player, sort of like who feels like a proper hammer. And for me, it was the way he sort of was written off when Lopetegui come in. It was like, oh, he's not going to start anymore. Potter, oh, he's not going to start anymore. And he's been so important to both of those managers. I thought,
yeah,
it's just for that reason. I know he hasn't been as good as Bowen, like I know, but I just thought the way he was written off and has bounced back. And now I think everyone sort of now finally appreciates him when he got subbed off at the weekend. There was a sort of standing ovation for him. And you know he's been a bit of a controversial figure in the past with if he should be starting. I just thought the way he has proved himself this season made him a worthy not player of the season, a worthy hammer of the season. Just because I kind of, in my view, I see it as two things a little bit different than player and hammer of the year. I think they're a little bit different. But that's my personal way I vote for that award. No one's. Yeah, it is what it is. But wouldn't be any of those three. I would have. Yeah, I'm not massively sort of passionate about. Oh, it needed to be him. Like I think all three of them have valid arguments. Yeah.
Yeah, I was concerned though in the build up to the vote, and I saw loads of people on social media saying they voted for Andy Irving, and it was just like
the club wouldn't let that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. There was a rumor that Jordan Hugill actually won the fans' vote that year because everyone was just voting for him for a laugh, and obviously the club just went, nah, so they had to rig the results and give it to second place. And I was a little bit concerned that they do that again, but not that we never know. Maybe they did. We don't know. We don't know. But yeah, I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I think, is a worthy winner, but perhaps not the right winner this season. And I don't think Jared Bowen would care anyway. The captain of the club, I'm sure he'd be pleased for Wan-Bissaka that he's got it. So yeah, it's what it is. Next, let's move on. We're going to keep it quite short, so not long to go. But let's touch briefly on the Ipswich game coming up this weekend. It means nothing, doesn't it? Like we may as well just not bother.
Yep. End of segment. Goodbye.
Yeah.
As I was saying earlier, give Guilherme a go instead of Kudus. Guido Rodriguez has come into the team and actually looked all right the last 2 weeks. However, if he's not going to be here next season, which I don't think he will be, then give the start to Orford because just give some young players a chance and play a team players who will be here next season and use it, as you were saying, as sort of a pre-season game, really, with the intensity of trying to finish on a win. We don't want to get beaten by Ipswich. That'd be relatively embarrassing. But we should absolutely. Yeah, Scarles has sort of disappeared off the face of the earth last couple of weeks as well. Like,
where's he gone? Is he injured or is he
no,
just disappeared?
I haven't heard about an injury. And he just sort of ever since he got rinsed by Salah, he's just completely just disappeared in the starting lineup.
Right.
He like again. To be fair, it was almost a bit nice to have Cresswell's last appearance being at home. Maybe Scarles could come in for Cresswell's. We would go to back four maybe, but like we might as well try and give some other players a chance of players that will be NXT. I think Fulkrug probably deserves a start. He's been unlucky to miss out last couple. Yeah, we should be giving Orford, Guilherme, and Scarles a run out. Absolutely, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll take it one step further. I'd whack West Fotheringham in goal. Just to remind people that he is still on the books. He does play for us. We did sign him last year. I'd whack him in goal for a laugh. Killing Casey maybe at the back, give him a go potentially. Andy Irving in midfield.
Yep.
Does Mikel Antonio appear out of nowhere? A little cameo at the end of the season, or is it too early still?
Oh, I mean, he hasn't been on. I thought he was going to walk around the pitch yesterday, but he didn't.
He didn't?
No, he wasn't there.
No,
as far as I'm aware, anyway. So I was surprised at that. So maybe he's maybe he's still quite a way off. Well, give Fabianski off Fodringham. Give Fabianski a final appearance. Don't let him.
Yeah, well, he's come out, hasn't he, Fabianski, and said he was disappointed that he didn't get on the pitch at the weekend, which I thought was a very bizarre dig at Graham Potter, given it's like, mate, I understand, but you're the goalkeeper. Like, very rarely do you change goalkeepers just for the sake of changing goalkeepers.
Yeah, it's not really a game. Also, it's still wanted to win the game, and it was there to sort of be, well, at least get a point from. It wasn't like, if we were 3-0 up, oh yeah, bring him on. Yeah, of course, make a change in goal. But it wasn't really that sort of game. But I think there is still people, everyone has forgot we are actually playing next week, and it's not the same. Having a send off away from home, but yeah, put Fabianski in goal for me. Give him a little send off. Your away fans can enjoy that, and he deserves one final appearance. So
yeah, I would play Cresswell as well, because it's very fitting that his last game for West Ham will be against the team we signed him from 11 years ago. So I do that just for that, really.
We're very sentimental, aren't we, as managers?
Yeah. Well, why not? Why not? Anyone else that should play? I mean, our squad's pretty thin, isn't it?
It's just a matter of people that go. And I mean, I don't think Soler's a terrible player. I think Soler's all right, but I mean, and he's all right. Came on. I can understand why he came on, because he needed a bit more someone to pass forward in midfield against Forest. But I mean, let's not give Soler 20 minutes against Ipswich. Let's give it to a young player. Like, because what is the point? There's no point. Like, respectfully, Soler's, he does work hard and stuff like that, but he doesn't need the 20 minutes. Give the 20 minutes to a young player. Give him a start. Give him a boost of confidence to the academy players that you can get a chance under Potter and things like that. It's we should be starting a team of 11 players that will be in the squad next year.
I agree. I think it goes a long way as well, because last season at Upton Park, we played. It wasn't. It was the season after. We played Burnley away on the last game of the season, and Slaven Bilic brought Declan Rice on for his debut in that game, and look what happened there. So it works. Give youngsters a little cameo at the end of the season. It puts them in the right mindset for the summer. Work hard in the summer, and gives them something to really look forward to and really work on. So I would, maybe just play the entire youth team. Do that. Then they all just turn into £100 million players within 6 years, and we're laughing.
There you go. With PSR, that'd be brilliant.
Yes, David Sullivan would be rubbing his hands, wouldn't he? Happy days. Right. Anything else that we haven't touched on, Alex, that we should touch on before we wrap up? We're 40 minutes in, so it's not been too bad. But anything else we should touch on? No, it's the answer.
It's been a poor season. Let's just get it done. And look forward to the summer, where we hopefully bring in some players we can be more excited about come August.
Yeah, well then don't forget, like, 12 months ago we said the same thing. Oh, it's bringing a load of players. It's been 150 million pounds, and here we are again going get rid of them all. Let's buy a new
Yeah.
set. It's pretty sad, really, isn't it, how the season's played out. Given all the excitement, David Moyes has gone, new style of football, new manager, 150 million pounds worth of new players, and then we get served that. But it wouldn't be West Ham if we didn't do things like this, would it? So
Exactly.
very, very typical of West Ham United. Anyway, I think we'll wrap it up there. We will do the same podcast next week after the Ipswich game, and we would normally do a review of the season, Will and I. But I'm not too sure whether we should, given there's not really much to review. But I don't know. Will and I will discuss that, and we'll discuss maybe we might do something a little bit different in place of that. But we'll just want to have a moan for an hour, so he might actually want to do it. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did, to be fair. So we'll see about that. But 1 more week to go. Buzzing for the final whistle at Portman Road this Sunday. But until then, let's try and remain a little bit positive that we can end the season on a high, if that's possible. But yeah, I've just realised I haven't done any socials, which I've let myself down a bit on the socials. But everyone knows that we're on all the social media platforms, so go search us on all the major platforms, and obviously we are on Patreon. I think we lost a few Patreons after Will went off on one last week. So please come back if you've left us. He's not here this week. I've come back to save the day. Patreon.com/We Are West Ham podcast for the price of less than a cup of coffee. Every single month you can get this podcast 24 hours before everyone else and ad free. It's well worth it. All the money that comes in goes straight back into making this podcast as good as we can possibly make it for you guys. So yeah, patreon.com/We Are West Ham podcast if you'd like to get involved on that. And there's quite a lot of debate that goes on the app, on the Patreon app, every week after shows, after people have listened. So you want to see what that's all about? Get involved. I think that's it. I'm gonna wrap up. I'm not gonna bore anyone any longer. West Ham are boring as it is. I don't want to continue boring people. So we've got Ipswich away on the final day of the season at Portman Road. I think it's a 4 p.m. kickoff. It always is on the last weekend of the season. They push it to 4 p.m. for some reason. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to the season be over, and we will be back this time next week. And we might have an opposition view for Ipswich. I don't know. Will did not give me much heads up to cover this, so I have no idea what he's got planned. So we either will have one before Ipswich or we won't. But either way, Will and I will be back this time next week to look back on the season, and then we can forget it ever happened ever again. But until then, stay positive. West Ham are massive, and we'll see you next week.